Hello, James here, and welcome to the James Cast. And you have tuned into Tech Talk with Andrew Thomas. Look, this show appears in its original form on Podaholics, another place that I do podcasting. And here we've got the pre-roll. So you get a little bit of the pre-show banter thrown in just to give you some context and fun and to let you know that we actually are real people. I love the hydrofoil thing we're going to talk about. I love the fact that there's some LEDs now on masks so that you can really get a sense of what people are saying. I love the fact that phone prices are coming down. We're going to talk about that and a whole bunch more. It's all coming up right now on the James Cast, Talking Tech with Andrew Thomas.
You all right?
Yeah, doing good. Doing very good. Can't complain.
How's the first week back? Weird or?
It has been okay. I think the challenge is just getting into it all, and I think it's coming together. It really has kind of taken on a life of its own. My students are getting into it. Some of them like the online world, some of them don't as much. But what can you do? Yeah, you kind of got to live the what's going on, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah. How are things over in?
It's kind of getting.
Yeah,
it's good. I just think it's kind of last 2 days. It's been one of those where I've woken up to a WhatsApp in the morning saying,
I think generally speaking, from what I'm seeing, people are losing their vigilance. They're not masking as much. They're not washing their hands as much. There's too many people getting together. And, I'm podcasting today at the Rove. I'm leaving my mask on. Usually I'll take it off and that. I'm leaving it on because you just don't know.
In the podcasting room?
Yeah. There's going to be 2 of us there,
okay.
but I'm thinking in terms of the other person. I mean, I was tested on the weekend. I'm okay. We had to test for school and got my results back. But I don't know. Like, I was, yesterday, where did I go yesterday? I went to the grocery store. So, I'm hoping I sanitized hands 3-4 times when I was out there in the grocery store, but you don't know. So,
it's a challenge. I mean, we kind of, I don't know. The 2 meter distance thing. I'm probably the most vigilant about.
Yeah.
Not sitting opposite each other, kind of off against each other. So, for things like that. So, yeah. I mean, my masks are off at that point. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's just kind of, there just seems to be more of it about, right?
Yeah. I wonder if we're just hearing more about it. I wonder if we're just hearing more about it now. I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, I think perhaps people will be, I don't know.
Well, there we go.
Any better?
Well, I can hear you and I can see you.
Okay.
Not sure how.
Might be a Zoom thing.
I don't know. Not sure how this whole system works, but yeah. Anyway.
Let's give it a go, yeah. Let's give it a go.
Who knows what's going on? I mean, it's Crazyville. So let's do it. Let's see what's happening. Yeah. Here we go. Podaholics time. Tech Talk. Andrew Thomas from digitalannexa.com. I'm James Pikeway. I can't remember the last time we did one of these. It's been a few weeks. But we're here. We're going to talk tech. Tech that matters. Did I say it's Podaholics? I don't even know what system we're using. We're on Meet today. We're not doing it on Zoom. Oh, man. We're all over the place. Andrew, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. It's we had our own technology challenges hidden in here, so that's fun.
It's amazing because you just never, it's just when you think technology is under control, next thing you know, no, not quite. Whether it's your router, whether it's what's going on with your machine that's doing updates, trying to get in on systems, things overheating. I was talking with the Etisalat guys the other day, and he, the technician dude that came by my place at 10 o'clock at night, he was saying, not looking forward to the back to school because they get called out a lot with landline issues and just the systems coming into homes. He said it really is putting everything to the test. And software on routers that don't handshake well with the software coming off the phone company. He says it's just there's so much going on, and it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're one of the people that have been busy, but as you say, it's a bit rough trying to get connectivity. That basic need now.
Yeah.
But we're cooking with gas, so we're good for Techtalk. We're good.
Which is, well, hey, I wanted to kick off with just some of the stuff that I've been dealing with my, as I said, the phone company was over at the house last week because a couple of weeks in a row I'd had literally no connection to the internet. It was working fine, drop off. And I gotta say, really impressed with how fast these guys were acting on things, and literally get a technician's call at I had one at 10 o'clock at night. I said, dude, I'm like packing it in for the night. He says, I'm outside your door. Can I just get 5 minutes? And he wanted to come in because he's literally going. He says it's partially from our end. We've reset stuff and we're doing a lot of upgrades. And he sort of said, we update at night. And he said sometimes your system might go down because we're doing an update. And he actually took a look at the router and he powered into the router and did some changes in there and factory reset the thing because he said there's a lot going on there. He was really concerned with how old it was. He said, how long have you had it? And I said, I don't know, a couple of years. He goes, okay, it should still be okay then, but age and just, solid state, but routers go. And I thought that was really interesting. Wanted to get your take on that because you're a tech guy and the whole router and other issues that we face with getting our Wi-Fi into our homes.
Yeah, we had also the office. The office got upgraded because there's no one in there, so we need to make sure that we've got really decent. Anyway, Stu came by and said, "Oh, we've done the upgrade for the building finally. That's been 6 months, so we need to connect you." So they connected us, and he came out and was like, "Yeah, your router's too old, or your router as we call it." He goes, "It's too old. You got to kind of upgrade, otherwise you can't get the 100 gigabit speed or whatever." So we're like, right, okay. But I don't know. I think we'll make that decision when people start coming back in the office.
Yeah.
I mean, at the moment, there's probably 4 of us in on a daily basis, so no real need for real high-speed connectivity as long as we can browse and check emails. I think we're pretty good. There's no Netflix streaming or anything like that in the office.
I'm always surprised. I mean, that's a really big one with speed changes. And something, these devices, the router, however we want to call it, that in the last couple of years, there's really been a sizable change in that technology with the 5G and the 5 gigahertz that they're working on. And your router can do that where you can get some excessive speed, but distance isn't so good. And some routers just don't have that capacity, so you need to upgrade. And I thought, wow, I'm not even thinking of that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's I guess it's there's always something. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna switch off my camera here. Give me 1 second.
Yeah,
carry on talking.
All right. It's the world we live in when people need to, you got stuff you got to do. Cameras got to go off. You got to move around. Then you got to come back. It's interesting, this world we live in when we're talking about doing video conferencing or doing those conversations, because you never know what can happen. And I've got an animal lying around. Andrew is at home working from home. He's got the family in and out and about. I think that in itself becomes quite a fun show to talk about the distractions that can and continue to happen. And I know when we first started doing online meetings and online stuff, that was a big issue. And what was
I think it continues to be an issue. I think technology-wise, what's happened is that a glass of water has just been spilled over an iPad and a switch and a phone.
Oh no!
So water is not technology's friend. So real time kind of trying to fix. There was an interesting. This reminds me of an app that I saw. Not an app. There's a setting in your iPhone that you can put through. And if you've kind of dropped it in water or you feel that there's something trapped, it kind of vibrates the speakers.
Oh.
And basically gets out whatever's in there, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I mean, a lot of the phones obviously are now waterproof or at least splash proof, right?
Yeah.
So you can do that. But yeah, this was pretty cool. I thought it was like, oh, wow, okay, yeah, that kind of cleans out whatever's in there. Because I find with some of the Apple devices as well, as time kind of wears on a bit, that connectivity of that USB and that connectivity of the charger, you don't get that satisfying click.
Yeah.
Anymore. Sorry, all sorted now, Mr. Parkway. So for those of you listening on the podcast, I had to switch off the camera and disappear, but I'm back now. Just a small emergency with water. So still not technology's friend after all these years.
You'd hope, right? It's not happening. And I always make a point of having closed cup things when I'm doing it, just because I'm notorious for spilling stuff and having those issues. So yeah. Hey, I wanted to fire over something, and this is way at the back of the notes, way buried in the back, and it's Motorola. And what I wanted to fire out here, and what I've found with Motorola, is a couple of new phones, the Motorola One and the Moto G9 Plus. And both of these phones are super affordable. I mean, we're talking really, really good prices. And, I'm looking at, $300. So we're looking at maybe 1,000 dirhams is what it's say. This is the Moto G9, and it's an up and coming Motorola budget phone. 5,000 milliampere battery, which is super big. Most of these days, 4,000 is a great battery. 4,500 even better. A lot of phones come in at 3,500 milliamperes for the capacity of those batteries. So 5,000. But what really got me on this? 64 megapixel sensor on the camera, 128 gigabyte expandable storage. Motorola coming in at probably under 1,000 dirhams. I'm thinking
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's like, what's going on with these phone prices? And I'm looking at that and I'm going, how do you justify 3,500, 4,000 dirhams for a phone when you can get, the basic things that you need: speed, storage, great battery life, and size at great value, and you're not losing anything? It's like, hold on a second. It's like a lot of these big companies are saying, okay, let's get real. we gotta move more product.
Yeah. They I think obviously it's going to be interesting what as you've put in the notes here, the kind of leak from Apple and what they're going to be announcing this week from a watch perspective or a new phone perspective. But I think where you've got the Motorola of the world and the Nokias of the world that are kind of really focusing on that entry level market, but still whacking a powerful punch. Yeah. It's kind of now like the Samsungs of the world and the Apples of the world and Huawei's who are kind of fighting over the top space. Yeah. Because even when I was looking at a kind of a budget phone a few weeks ago, which I ended up getting that, Xiaomi or Xiaomi XM, that was kind of mid-range out of the lower entry phones. So kind of Huawei were at the top and the Samsung were at the top of mid-range, offering the same sort kind of things, and they were kind of in the middle. And then you had a few that I'd never heard of before. It's more choice than ever. I think the as a consumer, we've got so much choice now to kind of really make a decision based on price if we want to. Yeah. Which is tough sometimes, obviously, but I think we still have that ability.
One of the things that I find really interesting is whether I'm spending 3,000 dirhams, $1,000 on a phone, or whether I'm spending, $300, 1,000 dirhams on that phone, so 3,000. Whether I'm spending the high price, the medium price, or the low price, the phones tend to look the same. They got similar case. The camera boxing looks the same. Yeah. The screens seem to look the same. Where's the differentiation to say, hey, you got the high level phone, you got the low, you got the the budget phone, and I find this really, really interesting.
Yeah, no, I think when you kind of see when you see these phones on the sideboard or in a meeting room, it's tough to differentiate now. It really is. To kind of just it was funny. I was going through my bit of clearing and packing over the weekend, and I found a bag of phone covers, and I'm almost embarrassed to say, but I found a phone cover probably from about, I want to say 9 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was a bloody, it was like a sleeve, and
Yeah.
it was a Mont Blanc sleeve for my phone.
Really?
So not only had I spent the best part of probably $1,000 on a phone, but I spent another $500 on a cover. Now I know I didn't. I know it was a gift, but even so, like, I mean, that's a bit ostentatious,
Yeah.
to kind of have that. But again, you wouldn't know what phone is inside. But I guess that goes back to, I've gone on the days for me when I don't have a phone cover. The amount of times I've dropped this bad boy. It doesn't make sense not to have a cover. That's purchase and number one and number two, phone cover and screen cover. But these phones that we talk about, those entry level phones, they got a screen cover and a case inside.
Yeah,
always.
They come with it.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of it's. And I guess some of the less popular models may be more difficult to get a choice.
Yeah.
If you want a super cool, like your very highly personalized shirts and highly personalized masks. If you wanted to kind of personalize your phone cover and you didn't have, the Sony or the Huawei or the Samsung, it's a bit more difficult to get, I guess, the choice.
Hey, look, here's another one. I'm rocking the P20, so I don't even have a new phone. I can't get a case. Right. It's almost impossible. I walked into the Huawei store and said, I need a case for the P20. He said, we don't have any. So then I go over to Etisalat. They don't have any. I go over to Emax. I'm thinking Emax. Now we don't have any. I was like, what do you mean? It says too old. I go, what are you talking about? It's too old. Yeah, we don't have that phone. It's done. There's no cases.
You know where you need to go? You need to get down to the boys in the Lane Centre down in Dubai. They will have everything, every case known to man down there.
So you know what it forced me to do? It forced me to get onto Amazon, and it got delivered the same day, and it cost me 10 dirhams. It's like
really,
an in-country Amazon case, shockproof, waterproof, got a stand on the back, 10 dirhams, delivered. I'm thinking that doesn't even include the.
Pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. But no, Al Ain Center. I haven't been to Al Ain Center in a good year. I really need to make a run down there. And part of it is I want to go see them. I mean, although I do have a work computer my work computer, it's MacBook Pro. Some of the keys are starting to stick. I've got one of those keyboards that Apple needs to get rid of because I'm getting key sticking, and it's really annoying.
The lever arch,
Yeah. I don't know what they do to fix that. I have no idea. So it's I don't know what they do. I don't know if they replace it or. I'm not sure actually. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, they know what they're doing down there though. Yeah. They're kind of I've been going to those guys for years. That's definitely the place to go to if you got an issue. And actually, I got an iPad. I think an iPad Mini 2nd generation that I got replaced a screen this week for 100 chips. Really?
So yeah, those are definitely the guys to kind of take care of you down there. I kind of sifting through some of this old tech. Found a couple of old iPads that still working great, and just did the kind of screen refresh. I was quite surprised. One that they had it in stock because it's like an iPad Mini 2nd generation or something. I think we're up to 8 or 9 now. I kind of get confused. But it still runs for what it needs to run for, and I thought, well, here we go, and just 100 chips, and you're up and away with a effectively a new iPad.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty awesome, and that kind of goes against what the Apple folks want us to do, though, or what any computer company wants us to do. They don't want you recycling and using it.
As much as we have a Tech Talk show, we're probably the enemy of the tech industry because you and I, it's quite funny how we've got this. We not only have technology that we recycle and reuse, and we're sitting on old MacBook Pros and old iPads, but I was listening to Car Clinic, and we were talking about, I think you mentioned that the Tahoe might be a classic or close to being a classic, and you're running around in your Jeep there. So you've got not only a Tech Talk show, James, you've got a Car Clinic show with old Glenn there that we're the enemy of the car industry because we're sitting driving around these cars that are going to be in the ground before we change them, right?
Well, and that's the problem. Glenn, like the guys down at Align Center, they're doing us a great service, but they're the enemy of the tech companies because they're keeping these things running and they're keeping them going. And, as long as the operating system works, fix a screen here, fix a mirror there, fix the keyboard here, fix the oil there. It's like the oil pan. It's
yeah. No, it's true. It's kind of no, but I do prefer.
I lost you. Oh no, now we're even on meat, and we're having connection issues. Andrew,
you froze.
Yeah,
I was going to say, speaking of broken, you froze and disappeared.
I wonder if they're doing work on the lines or something, because I noticed the quality of our feed comes in and out, and it was crystal clear, and now it's pretty grainy. So
it's Dynasty like.
Yeah,
I've gone to Dynasty with like a kind of misty look.
Yeah. Hey, did you see this link that I put up from New Atlas, the wearable Jabber mask that has an LED face on it? And I'm thinking, this is incredible. This is the thing that everyone needs, because what's the problem when we're wearing masks? You don't know if someone's smiling. You don't know what they're saying, how they're talking. And so literally it's got half a dozen LEDs on the front of it. And as you talk, it moves like your mouth. I'm thinking this is brilliant.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I see this is there's a bit of a movement in the UK amongst the deaf community.
Okay.
Because obviously you don't realise how much the deaf community will lip read, and it's caused a real problem now, because obviously where everyone is wearing face masks, that they can't lip read.
Yeah.
So speaking to somebody that sort of faces that challenge, but the emotional thing is really.
There we go. They see, I don't know if it's a nice sneeze, and now you're all misty.
I did the whole kind of elbow. Even though
that's
I'm
good.
here on my own, I still sneeze into my elbow. But basically, you mentioned something there, which is the emotional thing, which I think where this Jabber thing will come into to be handy, because that's the struggle. You'd be sitting here talking, and it's amazing, obviously, how much all of us read facial expressions.
Yeah,
and it's very difficult. As much as you can see smiling crow's feet, as it were, it's made super tough.
Yeah, no. So I'm really impressed with that. I don't know how much the mask costs. I missed that, and I did read through it. I must have missed that little piece, but looks kind of cool.
I think you're going to see more of this. I think the combination of wearables. We haven't spoken about wearables for quite some time, but I think the combination of wearables and tech from a health perspective is definitely going to move into this respiratory space, right?
Yeah.
Where people are not overly concerned about the Adidas face mask. Sorry to call it Adidas, but from a fashion perspective, or a Louis Vuitton. It's more about what does it actually do.
Right.
I don't care how good it looks. Is it going to protect me? Is it actually going to make sure that I'm safe? And I saw, I didn't share it in the link, but there was a guy that's basically built his own mask.
Okay.
And it's almost like the old kind of diving masks. And he's got fresh air that's being blown in. He's got like a respirator at the back. He can talk on a speaker system.
Yeah.
It's pretty elaborate. But I think what's interesting is he was frustrated with the whole kind of covering, but obviously wanted to be safe.
Yeah.
Couldn't find anything that was working for him, so built his own, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really neat. You fired something in, and I wanted you to give a little bit of a context to it. This was the whole Apple has talked about Apple developer subscription codes, and Apple it reads to me like they're opening up the possibility for those people who are putting together product and selling it through the iOS 14 and onwards and in the App Store, that they're going to be able to build a little bit more revenue and subscription possibilities into what they're doing. Why is this important to us?
I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago with Epic Games and Fortnite, and the argument that they're currently having with Apple, and the fact is people perhaps don't understand that if you've got an app and you're driving revenue through that app, Apple will take a percentage. of that revenue, and that's anything that's purchased
30%. It's like 30%, right?
Yeah, it's chunky. Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, I mean, they built the App Store, they built the distribution network, and right. So it's kind of, but Epic tried to backdoor it, and they kind of removed them. Now, I think what it's done is it's raised some of the kind of functionality of some of these apps where they do want to perhaps offer a special redemption on a code, or they want to build in a subscription model, and they just don't have the facility within the App Store. So I don't know if it's more about trying to close loopholes from an Apple perspective, or if it's just improving the platform for app developers and obviously app owners. I'm not sure which angle they're going for, but that subscription model is incredibly popular. Obviously, in a lot of apps you've got subscriptions, but some of them they can't, redeem that code. They have to go through the App Store, and then obviously again their revenue is spoiled. And it's basically what Epic were trying to say. They were trying to say that we want to pass a discount onto, our gamers, as it were. We want to give them a 20% celebratory discount, but by doing that, we're then kind of only 50%, getting the revenue, because obviously Apple take that. So I think it sparked an interesting debate, and it seems like Apple are responding on the back of it. I mean, I think we sometimes forget that it's an entire ecosystem, the App Store, especially in Apple. It's a bit easier to get an Android app up, but in Apple, there's rigorous testing. They're looking for malware. They're looking for potential security holes. So there is work that goes into making sure that it's a rewarding experience, right? When you kind of download one of those apps. So I think people forget that, right? And that isn't free. Again, we get this mentality that we live in a free world. Well, I don't pay anything to go on the App Store, right? I don't. I mean, I don't pay anything, and even down to things like publications and things like that. Obviously, if you've got a New York Times or Wall Street Journal, you're subscribing to that elsewhere, and then it's facilitating it through the App Store. So they may be even looking at lost revenue that they're not making at the moment through publishers and things like that. But I thought it was interesting enough to raise it on the notes, as it were.
Yeah, I think it opens up a big question, and they do make a lot of cash, so maybe we're getting a little hint on how that happens. And especially in this environment, people are looking at their bottom lines and they're saying, hey, we need to wrestle some of that back. The Fortnite guys, they're struggling. They're struggling to figure out how to make this work. And what Apple's showing us through their ecosystem is it really is a powerful and far-reaching ecosystem at a very particular economic level. So on the higher end, on the people with possibly more disposable income, Apple is king. So you want to be in there. You really want to be in there.
They did lose $180 billion on Thursday. Yeah. I mean, it was the 8% slide in stock. I mean, that must have hurt a little bit.
Oh, you got to imagine. But, when you start thinking of those numbers, you just start shaking your head, right? It's like, wow. It's like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I know I get miffed if I drop 10 dirhams. So, 180 billion. That would be quite a kick, a swift kick, as it were.
Yeah. And that's a whole other set of questions about what is, when we talk about profit and we talk about margins, and what is a good yearly profit. Is it that 25%? Is it gain growth of your business? Is 2% good? And what I think we've been in quite a nice technology that the curve has been nice and upward flowing. Plateauing and downward might be more reasonable in the current environment. So who knows? We'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting. But on that note, people want better machines. They want faster machines. They want machines that are not going to have as much bloatware, that are going to connect easier. So I think the innovation is figuring out how to get that Bluetooth to work better, how to get it to handshake better, how to get it to not drop, how to get it. That becomes some of that innovation. And I think the provider, whether it's the Chrome boys and girls, the Dell folks, the Apple folks, the person who could figure that out, how to make my machine connect and work better, they're going to win.
Yeah. There's a big thing kind of out there in the tech world anyway, from a business perspective, just the connectivity. Yeah. It's becoming a lot more people are understanding now that, you can't necessarily have one system that does everything.
Yeah.
You just need that one system to talk to all the other systems. And as soon as your platform becomes that open API or that open environment and has the ability to connect to other devices, other technology stacks, that's the one that wins, because it just makes things super easy as far as integration. I wanted to go back to you talking about making money, and you dropped in the notes here about the Amazon reviewers.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty incredible. Yeah.
At the moment.
a bit shady.
Yeah.
Did you see those stats on who's been eliminated? I mean, that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is they did a bit of an investigation, and they're obviously trying to always look, but there was, somebody that was prolific in writing reviews on products all over the place. And they said things from vacuum cleaners to liquidizers to laptops, and it wouldn't be physically possible for someone to purchase that many, or sell that many products. And obviously, in diving into the world of how these reviews, do they make money, or how do they make money, or what's the benefit of reviewing thousands of products, right?
Well, there's a number. I want to fire it in here, and it said that when they were looking at these reviews, there were 20,000 reviews that apparently came from 7 of the top 10 reviewers. 20,000 reviews from 7 of the top 10 reviewers. That's someone who's a professional business of reviewing, or some system to do that. But 20,000 reviews is extraordinary for that to actually happen.
Big number, isn't it? Are you a review guy? Do you write? You got that that ad 10 dirham case. Are you jumping on there and saying this was great, delivered in perfect time, or?
You know what? I don't order a lot of stuff from Amazon. I mean, I do get Amazon stuff, but I don't tend to write in the reviews. I do reviews when we start looking at TripAdvisor. I do TripAdvisor stuff, but I'm not doing the Amazon stuff. I probably should for the things that I've gotten from Amazon, but I haven't in the past, and I don't know why. There's no good reason why. Maybe it doesn't come up in my face. Hey, write a review in or something. But TripAdvisor, yes. Amazon, no. If I'm using a food app or buying something, I don't tend to write reviews there either. I'm a big Privily guy. There's a big Facebook group that does a lot of reviewing stuff on there. I'm not on that Facebook group. So I only know it exists because my wife.
So it'd be a no then.
So no, it's not me. But I'm thinking. But the other side is, I'm just thinking, if you were one of these top 10 reviewers and you got 20,000 reviews that are coming from them, who's got that amount of time? Like, how much time?
They don't. I mean, it would be an army of content writers that they're writing this. I mean, it could be, if you think about it, something like Trustpilot. I mean, and Google reviews. I mean, reviews are incredibly important in a buying decision, right? Yeah. You've got a lot of companies that they've started to do it here, not so much, but publicly in the US and North America there and Europe, they will put on their advertising, Trustpilot 4.9 or Google review 5-star, or, so I think they are important. But I know when we used to do a lot of work with TripAdvisor, it was really super challenging, because you could go in and just write a review now at a restaurant that you and I went to last night, but we didn't go.
Yeah.
Now you got a right to reply, and you've got, obviously, but it's still hanging out there. Yeah. And the hoteliers used to have real problems with that. At least I got into actually writing reviews on Booking.com.
Okay.
When I was traveling kind of fairly extensively, because you can only write a review if you booked and stayed at the hotel, and obviously there's been a purchase made there.
Yeah. So
I felt like that was, more honest, and I felt like I wanted to give genuine feedback on some people. Yeah. So it was good and bad. I mean, there was nothing, there wasn't anything too sketchy, but I wanted to let people know. I remember the one that I wrote the review about, that it was more about being helpful to others, where, because all the construction in Riyadh on Alaya Street, you just couldn't get an Uber. because what people would do is the Ubers would come from this side and see it and just drop. Like, so you couldn't, at that particular hotel, location wise, it looked amazing, and it was a great stay and comfortable bed but it was just on the wrong side of Alea Street. Yeah. So it was kind of real nightmare stuff to try and get an Uber or a cab or something.
Crazy.
And I thought that was helpful. I thought if I'd read that may have been, a decision whether to stay there or not. So it was more about being helpful.
Interesting.
But yeah, I only do booking.
Okay.
I've never written an Amazon review. I ought to think about that though. I ought to think about, because there's two things really, right? On Amazon and Noon, you're reviewing the buyer. You're reviewing the seller,
right?
And then you're reviewing the product.
Okay.
Now I don't know if you look at reviews on products, or I always go and look at the seller.
Always. Yeah, I always look at those. Yeah. And I don't know why I'm not writing them, because I've gotten stuff from these sellers.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like we're both looking at each other going, why are we not doing this? Got to start doing that.
I feel guilty now, actually, because I'm kind of like, this got no reviews, but the poor bastard probably it's got people like us that are buying things that won't reviews. That was someone write me a review. Don't send me a WhatsApp and say how great my service was. Write me a review.
Oh man, you see, we both shamed ourselves. We're gonna start writing these reviews.
Totally, dude. That was harsh. We were kind of beating ourselves up this morning. It's too early to be beating ourselves up. I've only had one coffee. It's crazy.
Oh man,
I usually wait till the afternoon to start having a moan at myself.
Oh man, I got to tell you, what can we say? Hey, I got an interesting one with my Zoom. I want to share this one with you. See what you think. Listen to this one. This one, so I've been running into a Zoom problem, and of course we're on Meet right now because our connections were dropping. When I plug, there's two things here. The first thing is I would love to get reviews from people about the dongle setups on their MacBooks, how many people hate them, and how many of those dongle connectors just stop working. Because I use a lot of dongles to connect in right now, and I find that connector in the machine is getting worse and worse and worse by the week. It's just it doesn't have longevity, which is a real problem because I'll plug in the dongle so that I can get extra connectivity, and the dongle's not registering in the machine, or it registers and then drops, and it's very frustrating. And I do not know what to do short of getting rid of this computer and going to Vio, because at least it's got legitimate connectors and not the dongle system. So I'm that wear and tear on those on the USB-Cs is pretty brutal, especially when you kind of got, as you said, that dongle. I use it a lot just for HDMI. Less now, to be honest with you, because obviously I'm having less physical meetings. But yeah, I mean it's the only other one that I've seen that I quite like is the one that sits flush, right,
with the system, and it kind of just stays on there the whole time. So
does that work better? Does that work a lot better? Do you find?
Well, I think just because it's on there, people just keep it on there the majority of time. Okay. And it's kind of locked in and then runs along parallel with the side.
All right.
It's not hanging on a cable. It's not able to move. It's because that's the other challenge when you've got it on that dongle, it kind of moves around.
Yeah.
So that might be an option, but I mean, the cheapest one of those I've seen is like 280 dirhams.
I know. So, that's the other side of it.
It's kind of, it's a serious purchase.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I'd give that a look. The kind of sidebar. We ought to do a whole show on dongles.
I think we should. Well, here's the other thing. So
we get mad listenership if we put something out called the dongle.
We're gonna talk the dongle. The dongle show is coming. I'm gonna use that in the title of this one. Dongle prelude. So when I plug in what I'm using now, I've got an adapter so that I can use sound in and sound out, so that it nicely hooks into the mixer. If I'm using this adapter, this USB that's going into my dongle, and I'm using it on Zoom, after 1 hour exactly, I've got to reset my microphone. At 1 hour, at 1 hour,
weird, isn't it?
No, at 1 hour, my voice goes, but if I go into the settings, the preferences, switch it to the machine microphone, built-in mic, and then switch it back to my dongle mic, perfect. And I'm going, how can
that feels like a line of code somewhere, doesn't it? Definitely feels like a gremlin code.
And so I even sent a query to Zoom saying, hey, this is exactly what's happening. What do you think? They have no idea. Like, I got a bot that sent me back something, and we're looking, and try that.
Yeah.
So
try switching it off. Try switching it on again.
Yeah. Try downloading everything. Try re-downloading it. So I did everything. Yeah. Still does it after 1 hour, and it's not even like it's 58 minutes. No, it's 1 hour exactly on the letter.
On the nail.
Boom. And I'm going, how does it know that I'm using a USB? How does it know that it's coming in from an external microphone and that it's kicking it off? Like, how? I don't know. It's weird.
No, I mean that does seem like at a code level, right? There's something that's kicking in that quite frankly, sorry to be pessimistic, I don't think it will ever be fixed.
Well, you know what it's come to is I'm like watching the clock, and if it gets close to an hour, I just manually go in, switch out, and keeps things going.
Yeah. It's obviously there just to keep you on your toes. That's what it is.
and my students,
just to keep you engaged.
Yeah, and my students have gotten so used to it. They say, "Sir, your voice is robotic." Okay, hold on, switch. How's that?
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
click.
We're back.
All right, okay. Does it happen? So if you finish a podcast now and you go straight into your students, it will then, or is it reset on a new pane?
Yeah, no, it resets every time. So the time restarts every time you start doing it.
Really?
Yes.
So fresh. That's bizarre. You almost think that if you're using something for an hour, you did 30 minutes, then you did 40 minutes, and then it would cut over. But you got some gremlins there, dude.
And
you need to sort them out.
The even worse side is someone said, well, you need a pro account. I am using a pro account. It's like,
I think the thing is that there's probably not many people that have got a setup like yours.
Yeah,
Most people are doing this like me, with the old AirPods. They haven't got the mic in and the mixer and deck, and they're you're clearly too professional for Zoom.
Maybe.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. You got a meeting today, by the way? You got to head off to the sales guys?
Yep, that's it. Yep, it's early start and early meeting. So, I think time to wave goodbye to the folks. Yeah. I don't know, just to end on that, I don't know if you saw, there was a pretty big rant on LinkedIn this week. Why do people wave on Zoom?
I'm always waving.
If you met people, I've done it.
Yeah,
If you met people in a room, you wouldn't do this.
No.
Yeah, on Zoom.
Hey! I wonder if it's because you can't do a fist bump or an elbow bump. If you met someone in a room, you might give them a handshake. So it's like, hey, I'm here. I'm real.
Yeah, right. See you later. It's almost like the end of the meeting.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it's
kind of like, we're done now.
Well, here's another one. You're talking to someone. Oh, hey, by the way, I called someone on the phone this morning before our show. And you know what they said to me? Dude, you're the only person who ever calls me on the phone. You're the only person I ever talk to on the phone. And then I mentioned that I do SMS you, and they're going, who uses SMSs? Their question was, does he look at them? I said, yeah, I think so. I think it rings on his phone when he gets an SMS. And then it's like, who's SMSing me? But it's funny. People are on the phone, and I think it's like the waving thing. And instead of just saying, okay, goodbye, people go, bye, 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 bye. Why do we have the multiple bye, 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 bye? Why do we have that? Instead of just, okay, bye, put the phone down.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there's something there, isn't it? They're trying to disconnect or disengage with the conversation. It's very bizarre. Yeah, it does feel odd, that's for sure.
Oh man!
But I'll probably wave in a minute.
Yeah.
Even though I've said that it's not good, I'll probably wave when we say goodbye.
Well, you know what? I'm going to put up all the notes, even the stuff we didn't get to, and we'll pick up and keep doing this stuff, and maybe we'll think more about our dongle issues.
Yeah, get on the Dr. Jenner show and start talking about, you can drag me on and talk about dongle issues again.
Oh man! On that note, Andrew, as always, we'll pick up this and do it again really soon. Techtalk is the program. Podaholics is how you're listening to it. My name's James Pikeway. Andrew Thomas, digitalnexa.com. Got any questions? Email us, podaholicswithak@gmail.com. Find us online, www.podaholics.com. And of course, across the socials, you got it, Podaholics with a K. Talk to you again soon. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
You same.